All right, if you're a Power BI pro, this one's for you. We're going to skip the 101 stuff and jump straight into the concepts that'll take your reports from just good to absolutely indispensable. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to walk through this just like a real Power BI project, starting with the foundational languages you need for prepping your data, and then building all the way up to some seriously powerful analysis with DAX.
First things first, we have to clear up the difference between the two brains of Power BI, the M language and DAX. And listen, getting this right isn't just some academic exercise. It is the absolute first step to becoming a way faster and way more efficient developer.
So, here's the simplest way to think about it. M is your workshop. It's where you go inside the Power Query editor to get your hands dirty, to hammer your raw data into shape, clean up all the messes, and get it ready for the showroom. DAX, on the other hand, is the showroom. It's the language you use to ask brilliant questions of that clean, perfectly prepared data. So just remember, M gets your data ready, and DAX is where you analyze it.
Okay, so now that we know our languages, let's step into that M workshop for a minute. We're going to look at a super common task, combining tables. Knowing which tool to use here is absolutely critical if you want to build a solid data model.
Right, this is a classic scenario. You've got data scattered across a few different tables, and you need to bring it all together. Now, Power Query gives you two main ways to do this, but picking the wrong one, it can lead to bad data, or worse, a model so messy it's impossible to work with. So let's get this crystal clear.
Think about it like this. Append is all about stacking things vertically. You know, if you've got your January sales in one table and your February sales in another, you append them to create one long, continuous list of sales. But merge, that's about joining things horizontally. It's when you have a table with product info and another one with sales, and you want to merge them to pull in the product name or category right next to each sale. You're adding columns, not rows.
And check this out. This is a perfect example of an inner join, which is a really common type of merge. What we're doing here is combining two tables to see exactly which teacher is responsible for which course. An inner join means it's only going to show us the rows where the teacher ID actually exists in both tables. It's a fantastic way to enrich your data, but only for records that you know have a clear, verified connection.
All right, let's leave the workshop and head into the showroom. It's time to talk DAX. We're going to tackle one of the most fundamental concepts, one that honestly trips up so many people, the critical difference between measures and calculated columns. This definition right here is the perfect place to start. It really gets to the heart of it, but the implications for your report's performance, its flexibility, and what you can actually do, they are huge. So let's really break down what this means for you.
Okay, this table really shows the trade-off. But here's the real aha moment. When do you actually use each one? Well, you use a calculated column when you need to define a static property for each row. Like, let's say you want to label a customer as high value or low value. That label doesn't change when you click on a slicer, right? You calculate it once, it gets stored, and then you can use it to filter stuff. So when do you use a measure? For pretty much everything else. Total sales, average price, year-over-year growth, all these numbers have to react to what the user is clicking on. A measure is basically a living, breathing formula that's calculated on the fly. It's lightweight, it's powerful, and it's the engine of any great interactive report.
And you know, understanding measures and how they dynamically react to context leads us straight to the single most important, most powerful function in all of DAX. And I am not exaggerating when I say this. If you can truly master the calculate function, you've pretty much mastered DAX.
You got to think of calculate as a supercharged calculator with a built-in time machine. It doesn't just compute a number. First, it creates this brand new environment, a different reality for your data, and then it does the calculation. It lets you completely override any filters coming from your visuals to answer some incredibly specific business questions.
Let's look at this classic example. The first thing you give calculate is the expression you want to solve. In this case, our total enrollments measure. Now, every argument that comes after that is a filter that changes the context. So right here, we're basically telling it, hey, I don't care what year is selected on the report. I want you to create a new context where the year is only 2019. This is how you answer questions like, forget the slicers, just tell me, what were the total enrollments for 2019?
So we've seen how Calculate can add a new filter. But its real power, its true magic is unlocked when you use it to remove or modify the filters that are already there. And to do that, it needs a little help from its friends. So let's meet its most important partners, the incredible all family of functions.
You're going to reach for all whenever you need to calculate something like a grand total percentage.
You know, if you want to see what percentage of your all-time sales each product makes up, you'd use all to get the total sales across everything, completely ignoring any filters the user has selected. This gives you a stable, unchanging number on the bottom of your division, the total of your entire data universe.
Oh man, this one is a fantastic shortcut. Imagine you want to calculate the percentage of sales for a product category, but within a selected year. You would use ALLEXCEPT to remove all the filters from the product table except for the one on the year column. It's like putting this protective bubble around your year filter while blasting away all the others. That way, you can see how each category performed inside that specific year, without anything else getting in the way.
And now for the real magic ingredient, the one that makes your reports feel truly interactive and smart. ALLSELECTED. This lets you calculate a percentage of the visible total. This is a total game changer. If a user filters your report down to a specific region, ALLSELECTED calculates the total for just that region. This is almost always what users expect to see because it makes the whole report feel responsive, alive, and just intuitive.
Okay, let's put it all together. To create that amazing percent of visible total column, you need ALLSELECTED. As you can see in the formula, the top part of our division is just the standard total sales measure, calculated for the current row, like bikes. But the bottom part, the denominator, is where the magic is. We use Calculate with ALLSELECTED to get the total sales for everything the user can currently see based on their slicers. This forces the denominator to respect those slicers, which makes sure the percentages always, and I mean always, add up to 100% of whatever is on the screen.
Look, mastering these core building blocks, from MV against DAX to append versus merge, the crucial difference between measures and columns, and finally, the context-bending power of Calculate and the ALL family. This is what separates a good analyst from a great one. These are the tools that let you answer just about any business question you can possibly imagine. So my question to you is, which one are you going to apply first?